Some of you walked in here today carrying the weight of storms that tried to destroy you. Storms that hit your life so hard, you didn't even have time to breathe. You smiled in public, but you cried in silence. You kept walking when everything and you wanted to give up. But let me tell you something. The storm was not sent to end you. It was sent to reveal you. You see, every storm that shakes your world is not meant to break you. It's meant to build you. The winds that tore through your peace were actually pushing you toward your purpose. The thunder that scared you was only the sound of God rearranging your path. The rain that soaked you wasn't a sign of punishment. It was the washing away of what could no longer stay with you. So today, we're not talking about what you lost in the storm. We're talking about how to rebuild after it. Because when the dust settles and the silence returns, there's still a version of you that's ready to rise from the ruins. The question is, will you stay broken or will you rebuild? When a storm hits your life, it doesn't knock politely on your door and ask for permission to enter. It crashes through your peace. It shakes your faith. It flips your plans upside down. You wake up one day and everything you once stood on feels unstable. People you trusted walked away. Things you worked for slipped through your hands. And you're left standing in the wreckage wondering, why me? But here's the truth. The storm happened, yes, but it doesn't have the right to define who you are. You can't stop life from raining, but you can decide how to stand when it does. You can't control what the storm took, but you can control what it leaves behind in you. There are people who let the storm become their identity. They start living under the shadow of what went wrong, defining themselves by what broke. But the truth is, the storm may have shaken your world, but it never changed your worth. Just because something fell apart doesn't mean you did. You are still the same soul, the same fighter, the same spirit that existed before the wind started howling. Maybe even stronger now, because the storm showed you what you're made of. Think about a tree in a hurricane. When the wind blows hard, some branches snap, leaves fly away, but the roots dig deeper. They cling to the soil with everything they have. That's how you have to be. When life shakes you, go deeper. Don't focus on what you lost above ground. Strengthen what's underneath: your faith, your courage, your discipline, your hope. These are the roots that will keep you grounded when everything else is falling apart. There's a story in every person who survived something hard. A mother who lost her job but still made sure her children smiled every morning. A student who failed an exam but refused to give up on his dream. A man who was betrayed by the very people he helped but still chooses to forgive and move forward. These are storms. And these people didn't let the storm define them. They walked through it, drenched and hurting, but they came out standing taller than before. Sometimes when the storm is at its worst, it feels like the end. The thunder gets so loud you can't hear hope anymore. The rain blinds you. The winds push you backward. You feel alone, misunderstood, tired. But listen carefully. Storms don't last forever. Even the darkest night has an ending. And when the clouds finally clear and the sun touches your face again, you'll realize something beautiful. You didn't just survive, you transformed. The version of you that comes out after the storm isn't the same one that went in. You're wiser. You're tougher and you're more awake. In daily life, you might lose a job, end a relationship, face rejection, or get betrayed. These are real storms. They can break your plans, but they can also build your strength. When you lose something, don't see it as the world turning against you. See it as the world turning you towards something better. Maybe the loss of that job is pushing you to start the business you were always afraid to try. Maybe the end of that relationship is creating space for peace. Maybe the betrayal was protection in disguise. Every storm is a message. It's not over. It's just changing form. The key is to refuse to identify yourself by your pain. Don't become the label of your losses. You are not the one who failed or the one who was left. You are the one who kept going. You are the one who learned to rise again. The storm happened, but you are not your storm. You are your survival. Every scar on your heart is proof that the wind blew, but it didn't destroy you. There will always be people who remind you of what you lost. They'll say, remember when that happened. But you must learn to answer, yes, and I'm still here. The power is not in pretending the storm never happened. The power is in standing there, acknowledging it, and saying, it didn't break me. You don't heal by denying the storm. You heal by rising after it. Every great building that stands tall today once faced a storm during construction. The builders didn't give up when the rain poured. They waited, they repaired, they kept building. That's life. You are the builder of your own destiny. Storms may delay you, but they cannot destroy you unless you let them. The only thing that can truly break you is giving up on yourself. So lift your head, wipe those tears, look around at what's left, not what's gone. You're still breathing, still dreaming, still capable. That means you still have power. The storm is over, but your story isn't. There's more inside you waiting to be built. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the storm didn't come to bury you. It came to prepare you. Because sometimes, the only way to discover your strength is to walk through the wind and still find the courage to stand. You are not a victim of your storm. You are the survivor who stood in the rain, faced the thunder, and refused to bow to the wind. You are proof that even after the fiercest storm, life still grows again. The storm happened, but it didn't define you. It refined you. Pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your transformation. Every time life hurts you, it's trying to teach you something. Every tear that falls is watering the ground for a stronger version of you. The truth is, nothing in life happens without purpose. Sometimes the reason is hidden behind confusion, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Pain isn't a punishment, it's preparation. It's life's way of shaping you for what's coming next. You see, when we go through pain, our first instinct is to ask, why me? Why did this happen? Why did they leave? Why did I fail? Why did I lose something I loved so much? But if you look closer, if you look with wisdom instead of emotion, you'll begin to see that every painful experience carried a lesson your comfort never could. Growth doesn't happen in easy seasons. It happens when life pushes you to the edge and demands that you find your balance again. Think about a seed. Before it can become a tree, it must first be buried in the dark. It must crack open, be broken apart, and endure pressure beneath the soil. It doesn't look like growth. It looks like destruction. But beneath the surface, something beautiful is forming. That's what pain does. It breaks you open, but not to destroy you, to plant something new inside you. It teaches you empathy, humility, strength, patience, and faith in ways that comfort never could. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful had to walk through a valley of pain first. The athlete who wins the medal has trained through pain that most people would quit under. The mother who raises her children alone has cried in silence and sacrificed her peace to give them a future. The man who starts again after losing everything has faced humiliation, doubt, and fear, but he keeps going. These people didn't escape pain. They found purpose in it. They understood that pain is not the enemy. It's the sculptor that carves greatness out of ordinary stone. Maybe life broke your heart. Maybe it ended a dream you worked for. Maybe you faced rejection that made you question your worth. But think back, weren't there moments in your past when you thought something was the end, but it turned out to be a beginning? The job you didn't get pushed you toward a better one. The person who left created space for peace. The door that closed led you to the one that was meant for you. You see, when you look back with a calm heart, you realize that pain was never there to punish, it was there to redirect. In daily life, we often resist pain. We want comfort, certainty, and ease. But comfort doesn't grow you. It keeps you the same. Pain, on the other hand, forces you to face yourself. It strips away your pride, your fears, your illusions, until only the real you remains. When life puts pressure on you, it's squeezing out the weakness, the doubt, the dependency. It's revealing your core, the part of you that's unbreakable. Think of a diamond. Before it shines, it's just carbon buried deep in the earth. What makes it valuable is the pressure it endures. Without pressure, it remains coal. With pressure, it becomes priceless. Your pain is that pressure. It's not meant to crush you. It's meant to change your composition, to turn you into something stronger, wiser, more radiant than you were before. And the beauty of pain is that it gives birth to compassion. When you've been through darkness, you learn to understand others who are struggling. You stop judging people so quickly because you've been there. You know how it feels to break and rebuild. Pain connects us. It turns wounds into wisdom. It teaches you to listen more, deeper, and live with more awareness. There's a power that rises in people who have suffered and survived. They walk differently. They speak with more depth. Their eyes carry stories of survival. These are people who didn't just live through pain. They learned from it. They discovered that sometimes what hurts the most teaches the most. The betrayal showed them who truly cared. The delay taught them patience. The loss taught them gratitude. Every heartbreak became a chapter of strength. So instead of saying, why me? Start saying, what is this trying to teach me? Because there's always a message inside the mess. Pain teaches you to rely on something higher than yourself, to dig deeper, to grow roots in faith instead of fear. When everything falls apart, that's when you learn what really matters. Peace, love, purpose, inner strength. Imagine a craftsman molding clay. He presses, shapes, and bends it until it takes form. The clay doesn't understand what's happening. It just feels the pressure. But in the end, it becomes something beautiful, something useful. That's how life works. The pressure you feel right now might just be life shaping you for what you asked for. You prayed for strength, so life gave you challenges. You prayed for wisdom, so life gave you lessons. You prayed for growth, so life gave you discomfort. Pain isn't a barrier, it's a bridge. It carries you from who you were to who you're meant to be. Every storm, every heartbreak, every moment of confusion is a step on that bridge. You may not understand it while you're walking, but when you reach the other side, you'll look back and say, now I see why that had to happen. So don't curse your pain, embrace it. Learn from it. Let it purify you, not poison you. The same fire that burns away the weak parts of you also forges the steel within you. Pain is temporary, but what it teaches stays forever. Because one day, someone will come to you broken, hopeless, and ready to give up. And you'll be the one to say, I've been there. I know how it feels, but you will rise. That's the purpose of pain. Not just to change you, but to equip you to change others. Every hurt you've healed from becomes healing for someone else. And that's how you turn pain into purpose, by letting it make you better, not bitter. There comes a moment in every person's life when the storm has passed, but the silence afterward feels heavier than the noise ever did. The dust settles, and you look around at what's left. The broken pieces, the scattered dreams, the empty spaces where something precious used to be. It hurts. The natural instinct is to reach for what's gone, to hold on to the debris of what once was. But sometimes the hardest and most courageous thing you can do is to let go of what the storm took. Because not everything that was lost was meant to stay. Some things were only meant to be part of your journey, not your destination. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you forget. It means you choose peace over pain, acceptance over control, growth over grief. There's power in release. You cannot rebuild your future if both your hands are still holding on to your past. Think of it like trying to plant new seeds in soil that's already full of weeds. Nothing new can grow there. You must clear the ground first. The storm didn't just come to destroy, it came to clear the field for new beginnings. Every person has something they struggle to let go of. It could be a relationship that no longer grows, a job that drains the soul, a dream that no longer fits the season, or a version of yourself that can't survive the next chapter. The pain of holding on often becomes heavier than the pain of release, and yet we cling to what's familiar, even when it hurts, because the unknown feels scarier than the broken. But real strength is in loosening your grip and trusting that what left your life was never meant to define your future. Think about a tree in autumn. The leaves don't fight to stay attached. When their time is done, they fall gracefully, and the tree doesn't panic. It doesn't chase after them. It trusts the process, knowing that in time, new leaves will grow again. In life, we often forget that same truth. We keep chasing after fallen leaves, trying to bring back what's already gone, instead of preparing for the new season that's waiting to bloom. There's a story in every loss. Maybe you loved deeply and got betrayed. Maybe you worked for years and still faced failure. Maybe you gave your all and it still wasn't enough. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to feel the ache of what's missing. But don't build a house there. Don't make your pain a permanent address. Mourn what you lost, but don't let it trap you. The longer you hold on to what's gone, the longer you delay what's coming. In daily life, you see it everywhere. A woman keeps reading old messages from someone who's no longer there. A man keeps walking past the workplace that laid him off, still replaying the moment he was told to leave. A student keeps staring at the rejection letter that shattered a dream. These are human moments, moments that ache and sting. But there comes a day when you must look at what's left, not what's lost, because your future isn't behind you. It's ahead, and it's waiting for you to take your eyes off what's gone and focus on what's growing. Letting go isn't forgetting the storm. It's understanding that the storm served a purpose. Maybe that relationship was teaching you self-worth. Maybe that failure was building resilience. Maybe that closed door was protection. Sometimes what feels like rejection is really redirection. And what feels like loss is actually liberation. You cannot climb to new heights while carrying the weight of everything you were supposed to outgrow. It takes wisdom to know when to fight for something and when to release it. Some people are not meant to walk with you into your next chapter. Some opportunities will fade so new ones can emerge. Some plans will crumble so better ones can be built. If you keep trying to rebuild with broken materials, you'll only repeat the same pain. You can't build a strong foundation with fragments that belong to a past season. You need new strength, new faith, new focus. Think of the phoenix, a bird that burns in its own fire only to rise from its ashes. It doesn't try to save the old feathers or pieces of its former self. It rises renewed, reborn lighter. That's what happens when you let go. You rise. You shed the weight that kept you grounded in sadness, and suddenly you realize that the pain of loss was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to set you free. There's beauty in surrender. It's not weakness to say, I'm done trying to fix what no longer fits. It's wisdom. It's courage. It's growth. Because every time you release something that no longer belongs, you make space for something better. You create room for peace, joy, and purpose to enter. Look back on your life. How many times did you think losing something was the worst thing that could happen, only to realize later it was the best thing for you? That relationship you thought you couldn't live without turned out to be the reason you found yourself. That job you lost became the reason you discovered your passion. That rejection you cried over became the redirection that led you to your breakthrough. So take a deep breath. Exhale the things that no longer serve you. Stop trying to fix the unfixable. Stop dragging broken pieces into a new season. The storm already did the hardest work. It removed what couldn't go with you. Now it's your turn to rebuild with peace, not with pain. Letting go is not losing, it's making room. It's saying, I'm done carrying what's no longer mine. It's understanding that what's meant for you will never require you to beg, to chase, or to break yourself to keep it. The moment you release what's gone, you begin to heal. And when you heal, you don't just rebuild, you rise higher, stronger, freer. Remember this, the storm may have taken something from you, but it did not take you. You're still here. You still have your strength, your mind, your heart, your faith. That's more than enough to rebuild something beautiful again. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can ever say after a storm is not, I lost everything, but I let it go and I'm free. When life gives you the chance to rebuild, you have two choices: rebuild from memory or rebuild from vision. Most people, after the storm, try to put everything back exactly as it was before. They chase the past, trying to recreate the same structures, the same routines, the same feelings. But what they don't realize is this: the storm didn't just come to destroy what was outside of you. It came to awaken something new inside of you. It came to shift your direction, to remind you that you can't live today with the same patterns that failed you yesterday. When you rebuild, don't build with memory, build with vision. Memory wants to take you backward. It whispers, let's make it like it used to be. Vision pulls you forward. It says, let's create something better. The danger of memory is that it's comfortable, it's familiar, it's known. But comfort can be the enemy of growth. You can't build a new life while looking in the rearview mirror. If you keep staring at what was, you'll miss what can be. The storm didn't erase your life. It cleared the path for your next level. Think about it when a city faces a great flood or an earthquake and buildings are destroyed. The engineers don't rebuild with the same old blueprint. They redesign, they build stronger, smarter, safer. They ask questions: what failed before? What can be improved? That's how life works too. Your personal storm showed you what parts of your foundation were weak, what relationships couldn't handle the pressure, what dreams lacked stability. Don't go back and rebuild with the same cracks. Learn, grow. Design your new life with vision, not memory. In daily life, this truth speaks loudly. Maybe you lost a relationship and you keep replaying old moments, wishing you could go back to how things used to be. But maybe those moments weren't meant to last forever. Maybe they were lessons, destinations. Maybe that person was part of your story, not the whole book. Vision says, I will love again, but this time I will love with wisdom. This time I will build with truth, not illusion. That's rebuilding with vision. Or maybe you failed in your business, your career, your dream. The memory says, I tried before and it didn't work. But vision says, I've learned something now that I didn't know before. Every failure carries a seed of direction. Maybe the plan didn't work because the timing wasn't right. Maybe you needed the fall to find your footing. When you rebuild with vision, you stop asking, how do I get back what I lost? And start asking, how do I build what I was meant for? Sometimes memory will trick you. It'll make you romanticize the past, forgetting that some of what you're missing wasn't really good for you. You miss the comfort, not the chaos. You miss the familiarity, not the peace. That's why vision is so important. Vision keeps your eyes fixed on what's ahead, not what's behind. You can't move forward if you're still reaching backward. Even nature teaches this truth. Every new sunrise demands that you turn away from the night. Rebuilding with vision means trusting that your future can be greater than your past. It means daring to dream again, even after disappointment. It means believing that you are not too broken, too late, or too lost to start over. Your storm didn't take away your ability to create. It revealed it. The fact that you're still here means there's still something powerful left in you. Something the storm couldn't touch. There's a man who once lost everything in a fire: his house, his memories, his photos, his work. For weeks, he grieved, walking among the ashes of what was once his home. But one morning, he stood in the same spot and said, this is not the end. This is my foundation. He decided to rebuild not the same house, but a better one. Bigger windows, stronger walls, safer design. Years later, that same man looked at his new home and realized the fire didn't destroy him. It refined his vision. That's what rebuilding with vision looks like. The truth is, life will always give you a choice: live in yesterday or step into tomorrow. Memory will keep you trapped in what was familiar. Vision will lead you into what's possible. One keeps you safe, the other sets you free. And sometimes freedom looks like walking away from what used to make you happy so you can find what will make you whole. Don't rebuild your life trying to restore old happiness. Rebuild to create new joy. Don't chase what's already gone. Chase what's waiting to be found. Your vision should not be about rebuilding what the storm broke, but about building what the storm revealed. You've seen pain now, you've felt loss, you've tasted disappointment, and that means you have a depth that you didn't have before. You can now build something that's not just pretty on the outside, but strong on the inside. If you listen closely, your future is calling your name. It's saying, stop trying to go back to normal. You were never meant to be normal. You were meant to grow. Normal is where you came from. Greatness is where you're going. And every storm, every heartbreak, every setback was not meant to push you backward. It was meant to prepare you for this very moment of rebuilding. So close the chapter that's behind you. Take the lessons, leave the pain, and lift your eyes toward what's ahead. Picture the life you want. Peaceful, purposeful, powerful. Feel it, speak it, build it. Don't look back at the ashes with regret. Look forward to the horizon with fire in your heart. You don't owe your past a repeat. You owe your future a chance. Build with vision. Build with purpose. Build with courage. Because the new you, the wiser, braver, deeper you, deserves more than what was lost. The storm didn't come to take your life. It came to show you how to live it differently. And now that you know better, you can build stronger. You can build higher. You can build something that no storm can ever destroy again. When you're rebuilding your life after a storm, the people you surround yourself with matter more than you can ever imagine. You can't rebuild a strong house with weak hands. You can't rise again while standing among those who keep reminding you of your fall. There are builders in life, and there are breakers. And one of the greatest decisions you will ever make is to choose who stands beside you while you rebuild. Because every word, every presence, every energy around you is either helping you construct your future or quietly tearing it down. Some people are like anchors. They keep you grounded, steady, safe. But some are like chains. They keep you stuck, heavy, unable to move forward. You need to learn the difference. The wrong people will drain your energy, mock your dreams, and plant doubt in your soil. The right people will water your hope, speak life into your vision, and remind you that you can rise again. The company you keep is the mirror of your direction. If you spend too much time around the wrong energy, even your fire will start to flicker. When a building collapses and it's time to rebuild, engineers don't hire random people to construct the new structure. They gather skilled hands, people who know how to build with care, precision, and strength. That's how you must treat your life. You can't invite just anyone into your rebuilding season. This season is sacred. It's where your foundation is laid. It's where your strength is tested. You need people who won't run away when the work gets hard, people who will pick up bricks with you and help you build again when your hands are tired. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you shared your dream with someone who laughed at it? How many times have you opened your heart to someone who couldn't handle its depth? Sometimes the reason we stay broken is that we keep rebuilding in the same environment that broke us. You can't heal in the same place that hurt you, and you can't rebuild around people who don't believe in your growth. Builders see potential in your ruins. Breakers only see what's missing. In daily life, it's easy to get attached to people just because they've been around for a long time. But time doesn't equal value. Some people were meant to be part of your story, not your future. A builder will see your pain and still see your promise. A builder will sit with you in silence, but still speak faith into your darkness. A builder doesn't compete with you. They lift you. They celebrate your wins as if they were their own. They correct you with love and cheer for you with sincerity. The power of good company can change everything. Imagine a person recovering from a disaster, rebuilding a home brick by brick. Now imagine a group of friends showing up every day, bringing tools, helping, encouraging. That person would rebuild faster, stronger, happier. That's the difference a builder makes. They don't watch you struggle from a distance. They get involved. They remind you of your strength when you forget it. But sometimes you have to walk alone for a while to find your builders. Don't fear that solitude. Isolation is not always punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. When you walk alone, you get clarity. You start hearing your own thoughts without the noise of others' opinions. You learn who you are and what kind of energy you want around you. Then, when you do meet your builders, you'll recognize them because their presence will bring peace, not pressure. Let me tell you something true. You can't climb high while carrying the weight of everyone who refuses to grow. Some people love you, but they don't fit your future, and that's okay. Letting go doesn't mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to choose peace. You can still wish them well while walking your own path. Look around at your circle. Who claps when you win? Who comforts you when you fall? Who tells you the truth when you're wrong? These are your builders. They don't need to be many. Sometimes 2 or 3 real ones are worth more than a crowd of pretenders. A builder will help you see light when your eyes are full of tears. They will remind you that you're not alone. They will stand beside you when everyone else disappears. And if you can't find builders right away, become one. Be the kind of person who lifts others up, who speaks kindness, who encourages growth. Life has a way of returning the energy you give out. When you become a builder, you start attracting builders. When you sow support, you reap support. When you give love freely, you'll find that love coming back to you in ways you never expected. The truth is, rebuilding isn't easy. There will be days when you doubt yourself, when fatigue hits, when progress feels slow. That's when your builders matter most. They're the voices that say, Keep going. You're almost there. They're the hands that help you lift when your strength fades. They're the hearts that remind you why you started in the first place. One day, you'll look back and realize that the people who stood by you during your rebuilding season were a gift, a reminder that God never leaves you without support. The storm might have tested you, but it also revealed who was truly for you. It showed you who stayed when there was nothing left to gain, who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. Those are your builders. Hold them close. And if there's one thing you should never forget, it's this. No one rebuilds alone. Every strong life, every comeback story, every rise from the ashes has behind it a few hearts that cared, a few voices that encouraged, a few hands that helped. So choose your circle with wisdom. Surround yourself with faith-filled, forward-looking people who remind you that your story isn't finished. Because with the right builders beside you, no storm can ever stop you from rising again, stronger, wiser, and ready to face the next sunrise with hope burning bright in your heart. When life knocks you down and it's time to rebuild, the most important lesson you'll ever learn is this: don't rush the process. You can't rebuild something strong on a broken foundation. The storm may have passed, but its impact runs deep. Before you start laying bricks again, you must make sure your ground is solid, your beliefs, your values, your purpose, your heart. Because if the foundation is weak, no matter how beautiful the structure looks, it will collapse again when the next storm comes. Strength doesn't come from how fast you rebuild. It comes from how deeply you prepare. We live in a world that glorifies speed, fast success, fast healing, fast results. But real rebuilding doesn't work that way. Healing takes time, growth takes patience, and strength takes consistency. You can't rush emotional recovery any more than you can rush the sunrise. If you plant a seed today, no matter how much you water it, it won't become a tree overnight. It has to grow roots first, hidden roots, silent roots, roots no one sees. The same is true for you. When you're rebuilding after loss or failure, your roots are forming in silence. Just because no one sees progress doesn't mean it's not happening. When a building collapses, engineers don't just start stacking bricks the next day. They inspect the foundation. They study the damage. They fix what's underneath. Because rebuilding without repairing what's broken guarantees another fall. In your own life, you must do the same. Before you rush into new relationships, new plans, new beginnings, take time to understand what cracked your foundation before. What beliefs made you weak? What habits drained your strength? What fears held you back? The storm exposed those cracks for a reason, not to shame you, but to show you where you need to grow. Let's say someone goes through heartbreak. The pain is raw, and the urge to move on quickly is strong. They want to fill the emptiness, to forget, to distract themselves. But if they don't take the time to heal their heart, they'll carry the same pain into the next connection. The wound might look healed on the outside, but inside it's still bleeding. The foundation is still broken. Sooner or later, that pain will resurface. That's why slowing down isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Taking time to strengthen your foundation means you're protecting your peace before you build again. Or imagine someone who loses their job and rushes to take the next opportunity without reflection. They might end up in the same kind of environment that broke them the first time. But if they stop, breathe, and analyze, they may realize that the loss was a lesson, that they were never truly happy there, that they were meant for something more aligned with their passion. By rebuilding too quickly, you might recreate the same pain. But when you take your time to fix your inner structure, your next move becomes stronger, wiser, unshakable. In life, the foundation is always deeper than what people see. It's your mindset, your discipline, your patience, your faith. People will see your achievements later, but what holds those achievements up is what you build in the dark, your unseen work, your quiet growth, your personal truth. That's why it's okay if no one understands your silence right now. Maybe you're not posting your progress, but you're building it. Maybe you're not shouting your dreams, but you're nurturing them. Every delay has a purpose. Every pause is preparing you. Patience in the rebuilding process is not just about waiting. It's about trusting. Trusting that the time it's taking is exactly the time you need. Trusting that slow progress is still progress. Trusting that even if you can't see the full picture yet, It's forming piece by piece. When a sculptor creates a masterpiece, they don't rush the work. They carve slowly, carefully, intentionally. Every strike of the chisel shapes the final form. That's what your journey is like. Life is sculpting you one challenge at a time. Sometimes we compare our process to others. We look at people who seem to have rebuilt faster, who seem to have it all together. But you can't compare your foundation to someone else's walls. Maybe they're building something small while you're building something lasting. Maybe their house went up fast because it's temporary, while yours is meant to stand for a lifetime. Don't envy the quick, admire the steady. Because when you take your time to strengthen your base, your success won't crumble under pressure. Think of bamboo. For years after it's planted, nothing seems to happen. You water it, nurture it, but there's no visible growth. Then suddenly, in a short period, it shoots up taller than most trees. What happened during those years of silence? The roots were growing deep, spreading wide, preparing to sustain the height that was coming. You are like that bamboo. The years of waiting, of healing, of silence, they're not wasted. They're your root years. Wear your preparation. When your time comes, you'll rise so fast that people will think it happened overnight, but you'll know it was years in the making. So don't rush. Don't try to prove anything to anyone. Take your time to build properly. Fix the cracks that life exposed. Learn the lessons that pain taught you. Strengthen your character, your values, your faith, because the next time the wind blows, you won't shake so easily. You'll stand tall, grounded, unmovable. The world will look at you and see the surface, the success, the peace, the strength, but you'll know it's the foundation beneath that holds it all together. Let the process do its work. Every moment of waiting, every day of rebuilding, every quiet season of preparation is shaping you into someone unbreakable. It's not a delay. It's design. The stronger your foundation, the higher you can build. And when the next storm comes, because life always brings more, you won't fear it. You'll stand firm, not because storms stopped coming, but because this time you took the time to build right. When you're rebuilding after a storm, one of the most powerful things you can ever do is believe again. After the wind has blown through your life, after everything seems broken and gone, the hardest thing isn't cleaning up the mess, it's daring to hope again. Because disappointment has a way of building walls around the heart. Pain whispers, don't trust. Don't try, don't dream, but if you want to rise again, you have to silence that whisper. You have to believe that what's ahead of you is greater than what you lost. You have to believe that even though the storm tore things apart, it didn't destroy your purpose. You have to believe that you still have a future worth fighting for. Faith, not in religion, but in the unseen goodness of life is the bridge between where you are and where you're going. Belief is the light that guides you when everything else has gone dark. When you stop believing, you stop building. Because no one rebuilds without vision, and no one has vision without faith. It's belief that gives your hands the strength to lift again, your heart the courage to love again, and your mind the will to try again. Think of a farmer who just lost his crops in a storm. Everything he planted gone. He walks through the destroyed field, heart heavy, hands empty. The ground looks hopeless, but next season he sows again. Why? Because he believes in the soil. He believes in the power of the seed. He believes that the sun will rise again and the rain will fall again. He doesn't let one season define the next. That's belief in action. That's what it looks like when you choose hope over despair. In life, you will have seasons like that farmer where everything you worked for seems wasted. You'll ask yourself, what's the point? You'll wonder if it's worth trying again. But let me tell you something, even when the storm destroys the visible, it can't touch the invisible, the unseen part of you. Your strength, your resilience, your fire, it's still there. You may have scars, but you're not done. You may be tired, but you're not finished. Belief is the force that reminds you that endings can become beginnings, that failure is not final, and that you can rebuild not just what you lost, but something better. Every person who's ever come back stronger started with belief. Think about it. A business owner who lost everything but started over from zero, they believed they could do it again. A mother raising children alone after heartbreak, she believed her love could rebuild their world. A man recovering from addiction, a student rising from failure, a dreamer starting again after rejection. All of them had one thing in common: they believed they could still rise. Belief isn't about ignoring reality. It's about refusing to surrender to it. It's standing in the ruins and saying, "This is not the end of my story." It's waking up in the morning when you have no motivation and still deciding to move. It's smiling when you don't feel like it, forgiving when it hurts, trying when it seems pointless. Belief isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper, a small voice saying, "Keep going." Life will test your belief again and again. There will be people who doubt you, situations that discourage you, and moments when you'll doubt yourself. Those are the very moments when belief matters most, because belief is like a muscle. It grows stronger under pressure. The more it's tested, the more powerful it becomes. Every setback, every failure, every disappointment, they are weights for your faith. You lift them and you grow. Think of the seed again. It's buried in the dark. It can't see the light. It can't hear the rain. It can't feel the warmth of the sun. Yet inside that darkness, it's still growing. It believes in its design. It pushes through the soil because it knows there's light above it. That's the same kind of belief you need when life buries you. The faith to grow in the dark. Even when you can't see the way out, trust that the light is waiting for you. Belief also gives your pain a purpose. When you believe, your suffering transforms. It no longer feels like punishment. It becomes preparation. Every tear, every loss, every delay starts to make sense because you understand it's shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, deeper. Without belief, pain is just pain. But with belief, pain becomes the soil where purpose grows. In daily life, this means showing up even when you don't feel like it. Belief is when you go to work while still healing inside. Belief is when you keep studying after failing an exam. Belief is when you smile at your children even while your heart is breaking. Belief is quiet strength. It doesn't always shout, but it always moves forward. You may not always feel strong, but as long as you believe, you are never powerless. And sometimes belief is borrowed. When your own faith runs low, lean on someone else's. Surround yourself with people who see the light in you even when you don't. Let their belief remind you of who you are. Because there will come a time when your fire burns low, but one spark from another heart can reignite yours. So, if you're standing in the ruins of your life today, don't let fear win. Don't let the storm convince you that it took everything. You still have the most powerful thing, the will to believe again. You still have the ability to hope, to dream, to build. And as long as you believe, there is no force strong enough to stop your comeback. Believe that you are not forgotten. Believe that what you lost can be replaced with something greater. Believe that your time is coming. The storm was not your ending. It was your awakening. You're not broken beyond repair. You're being rebuilt stronger than before. And the moment you start believing that truth, everything begins to shift. Because belief is the first brick of every new beginning. And once you lay it, the rest will follow. When you are rebuilding after a storm, one of the most crucial truths to understand is that your words have power. What you speak shapes what you see. The tongue is like a tool. It can construct or it can destroy. Every time you open your mouth, you are either laying bricks for your new life or tearing down what you're trying to build. The way you talk about yourself, your future, your pain, and your hope decides the direction of your recovery. You cannot rebuild something great while speaking words of defeat. You cannot rise again while your mouth is declaring, "I can't." If you want to rebuild your life after the storm, you must first rebuild your language. Words are seeds. When you speak, you are planting something into your environment, into your mind, your heart, your future. Positive words grow strength. Negative words grow fear. Every great rebuild begins with a shift in speech. You must speak faith when fear surrounds you. You must speak peace when chaos tries to rule. You must speak life when everything around you looks dead. Because the storm may have broken your house, but you have the power to rebuild it. Word by word, declaration by declaration, truth by truth. Think about it. Every day you wake up, your first words set the tone of your day. When you start your morning saying, "I'm tired, I can't do this," nothing's changing. You are already giving your energy to defeat. But when you wake up and say, I'm still here. I'm growing. I'm grateful. And I'm getting better. Even if nothing looks different yet, something begins to shift inside you. Your words create movement. They create energy. They create focus. They give your spirit something to hold on to. In daily life, we see this truth all the time. A teacher speaks confidence into a child who's struggling, and suddenly that child begins to believe in themselves. A coach motivates an athlete with powerful words, and that athlete performs beyond their limits. A parent comforts their child after failure, saying, "You can still do it," and hope is reborn in that child's heart. The words didn't change the situation, they changed the belief, and belief changes everything. Now look at your own life. What are you saying to yourself every day? When you look in the mirror, do you see strength or scars? Do you speak growth or guilt? Too many people destroy their own future because their words are soaked in negativity. They keep repeating their pain, rehearsing their losses, and reminding themselves of what went wrong. But every time you repeat the story of your pain, you're giving it power. Every time you declare your defeat, you're rebuilding your failure. Stop giving voice to what broke you and start giving words to what's being built. Imagine a person rebuilding a house after a storm. If they stand among the ruins saying, "It's too much, I can't do this, it's hopeless," they'll never lift the first brick. But if they say, "This is hard, but it's not impossible. I've lost much, but I still have life. I may not rebuild overnight, but I will rebuild," then strength starts to return to their hands. The mess doesn't disappear, but their mindset shifts. That's the power of speech. Words can't stop storms, but they can carry you through them. It's not just about saying positive things, it's about saying truthful things that uplift you. You don't have to lie to yourself. You don't have to pretend you're not hurting. You just have to speak from a place of strength, not surrender. Instead of saying, "I'm broken," say, "I'm healing." Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned." Instead of saying, "It's over," say, "I'm beginning again." The words are small, but their impact is mighty. In your rebuilding journey, the storm's echoes will still whisper sometimes. You'll hear old voices, voices of fear, doubt, regret. They'll say, "You're not enough. You'll never make it. It's too late." But that's when your voice must rise louder. You must speak against the storm. You must answer those lies with truth. Tell yourself, "I am stronger than I was. I am wiser than I used to be. My best days are not behind me. They're ahead." Speak it even when you don't feel it. Speak it until you start to believe it, because what you continually say becomes what you eventually see. Look at anyone who has overcome great odds. They'll tell you that their words were part of their victory. The athlete recovering from injury repeats, "I will come back stronger." The entrepreneur after failure says, "This is just a lesson." The person battling illness says, "I'm not giving up." Their bodies may be weak, their circumstances difficult, but their words stay firm. Because the moment you speak hope, you begin to move toward it. Words also affect the people around you. When you speak life, you give others permission to do the same. Your strength becomes contagious. You inspire others to rebuild too. Maybe your friend is watching you. Not what you're building, but how you're speaking while you build. They hear your words of faith in the middle of your chaos, and suddenly they find courage for their own storm. That's how light spreads, not through perfection, but through powerful words spoken in brokenness. So guard your speech like a treasure. Choose words that lift, not limit. Even when you're tired, choose words that bring peace to your heart. Speak gratitude for what's left instead of grief for what's gone. Speak faith in what's coming instead of fear of what's missing. Speak as if the walls are already standing, as if the foundation is already strong, as if the storm never had the final say. Because the more you speak it, the more you start to believe it. And what you believe, you build. Every brick you lay in your new life starts with a word you speak. So speak strength, speak life, speak hope. Let your words become the melody that carries you through your rebuilding season. Because one day, when your house is standing strong again, when your peace has returned and your purpose is shining, you'll look back and realize it all began with a voice that refused to be silent. A voice that chose to build with words instead of break with them. A voice that said, "Even after the storm, I will rise again." When you're rebuilding after a storm, one of the most important things you must learn is to be grateful for what remains. Gratitude is the light that helps you see beauty in the ashes. When the winds of life have blown hard, when you've lost people, opportunities, and moments you thought you'd never survive without, gratitude becomes your anchor.